Good afternoon students, and in this today's lesson we will see the remaining input types. In the input tag we have different types of options available. Earlier in the previous lessons we have already seen the text, password, checkbox, radio button, submit button, several types of input types already we have seen, and HTML supports some newly introduced input types also. So, those remaining input types we are trying to understand in this today's lesson. Now, let us try to start. So, what are the new input types of HTML? Let us try to understand. First, we have text. It is used to accept a text box. If you want to create a text box, we have to use input type equal to text. Input type equal to text is used to create a new text box, which is used to accept some text information. And also we have password, which is used to create a password text box. And also we have checkbox. If you want to display yes or no type of option, we have to use checkbox, yes or no type of option. Also we have radio to display a set of options to user and allow the user to display any one of them, to select any one of them. For example, you want to allow the user to select any one payment mode out of 3 options: debit card, credit card, net banking. Any one should be selected. In this case, we have to use radio button. And also we have file. In order to create file browse button. And to create submit button, we have to use input type equal to submit. The submit button is used to submit or send the data to server. And also we have reset button in order to clear the text box values. To clear all the text box values, we have to use reset button. Similarly, we have color to accept a color, to select the color. For example, I want to display the list of colors and allow the user to choose a particular color, and I want to apply that color as a background color for the web page. In this case, we have to use color option. Similarly, we have date to allow the user to choose a date. For example, date of journey or date of joining or date of leaving. To allow the user to select a date, we have to use date selection. We have to use input type equal to date. To allow the user to choose the time, we have to use input type equal to time. And similarly, if you want to accept a number, we have to use input type equal to number. To accept a numerical value, we have to use input type equal to number. Same like this, to accept email address, we have to use input type equal to email. Okay, these are some of the important input types available in input tag. So, I want to demonstrate all these input types inside one HTML program. And moreover, I would like to place the label and text box in a separate table. Means I want to take a table like this. And in this particular table, I would like to prepare some rows. We have a table with some rows, and in every row, I want to place some 2 cells. 2 cells we are going to place in every row. And in the first cell, I want to place label. In the second cell, I want to place the text box. Similarly, in all the remaining cells, I want to place labels. Here I want to place the text box, even below rows also. So, once you create the table, what is the benefit for you? You will be able to get the complete real time look and feel. That means the proper alignment you will get. So, in order to align the text boxes properly, it is recommended to place them inside the table tag. Now, first we have to learn how to create the tables. To create the tables, what is required is table tags required. What are the table tags required for us? To create the table, we require the table tag represents the entire table. TR represents a table row. TD represents table cell. To represent the complete table, we have table tag. To represent a row inside the table, we have to use TR. To represent a cell inside the row, we have to use TD. So, table, TR, TD, 3 cells we have available, 3 tags we have. So, for example, this entire table is going to be represented as table tag, and only this particular row represented as TR tag. In this TR, only this specific cell is represented as TD tag. Okay, whole table is table tag, a single row is a TR, and a single cell is a TD tag. TR stands for table row, TD stands for table cell. So, in real time applications, in many places we have to use tables. For example, I want to display the student mark sheet. What are the contents of the student mark sheet? Student roll number, student name, and corresponding subject code, subject name, marks, grade, all these details I want to display. So, the student mark sheet is an example of table. Similarly, I want to display the bank transactions, date, the transaction description, the debit amount, credit amount, and the balance. Similarly, I want to display the election results or cricket scoreboard or any other tabular information can be displayed by using table tags. In order to create the table tags, what are the tags available for us? 3 tags available: table, TR, TD, mainly 3 tags. The table tag represents the complete table, whole table, and the TR tag is representing the particular row, a single row represented as TR tag, and a specific TD is representing the table cell. Okay, these are the 3 points that we have to understand. Now, let us see how to create the table, and then we will integrate the form inside the table. Previously, we have created a form in the last lesson. Now, we are going to create a table. Now, we are going to merge both the form and the table also. Now, let us try to understand the program. Okay, so here first we have to create a table. First HTML program begins, HTML program ends. Inside the HTML, we have to place head and body. Now, let us save this table.html. Where we have to save this? In C:\HTML Okay, we have created 3 rows with respect to cells. In every row, we have 2 cells. For example, in this particular row, we have cell number 1 and cell number 2. I told you already the TR tag is representing the row, the TD tag representing the single cell. Okay, here I would like to place 3 and 4, 5, 6. That's all. So, as per this particular program, the expected output is like this. So, behalf of this particular TR tag, okay, as a result, you will get one row. In this particular row, there are 2 cells. In the first cell, we can see 1. The second cell, we can see 2. Similarly, behalf of this particular TR, another row we can expect. And in this particular row, again we have 2 cells. In the first cell, we have 3. In the second cell, we have 4. And the same way, 5 and 6 also we can assume. So, every row represented as TR, every cell represented as a TD inside it. So, in this program, now we can see a simple table with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now, I would like to convert this particular basic table into the form. I want to place a real-time registration form, suppose a student registration form for the university. So, first I want to place a form tag. Inside the form tag, we have to place the table tag. Now, the table is a part of the form. Now, the table is a part of the form. Inside the form tag, we have table tag. Now, inside this particular table, in this particular cell exactly, I want to place a label. To specify the label, we have to use label tag. Let me place in the next line. Okay, so here exactly we are ready to place a label. So, label for T1. T1 indicates ID of the text box. So, name you want to accept. So, the first TD is complete. Now, coming to the second TD, here we are going to place the actual text box. To place actual text box, we have to use input type equal to text. Input type equal to text will allow you to accept the name. Now, we can see the name. And in the next row, I am going to place another TD. In the second TD, we are going to place another label, that is T2 email. To accept the email address, we are going to place input type equal to email. Okay, here in this second TD, I am going to place the input type equal to email. For this, what is the ID is required? For the first one, ID is T1, second one ID is equal to T2. Okay. So, we have created 2 rows. Now, we can see both text boxes are neatly aligned. Okay. Now, we can see the next one. I want to place amount field I would like to place. So, to place the amount, we have to place another label for T3 amount we are going to place. How to accept the amount? Since amount means a numerical field, we have to use input type equal to number. So, for this we have to use input type equal to number, ID is equal to T3, T for text box. Instead of T1, T2, T3, we can give any other names. Okay, let us close this TR, even this one. Now, like this we have created, but the benefit of using the table here is, once we have removed this particular border, now you can notice the text boxes are neatly aligned. Previously, yesterday also we have created the similar kind of form, but the difference is the alignment was not good as we have not used any table. In case if you want to bring the neat alignment for the text boxes, we have to place the form inside the table. So, have a look at once. First we have to place the form. Inside the form we have to use table. Inside the table we have to use rows. The first row contains 2 cells. The first cell contains the label, second cell contains the text box. Second row. In the second row, first cell contains the email label, second cell contains the email text box. Third row. Third row contains, first cell contains the amount label, second cell contains the number text box. And you can in the same way we can repeat remaining. Now, you can also place the reset button and submit button. The purpose of reset button is to clear the text box values, we have to use reset button. Let us add the reset button. First a TR. In the first TD, I am going to place reset button. Input type equal to reset. Once we have placed the input type equal to reset, we are getting a reset button here. So, once we click on reset button, what happens is all the values that we have entered in the respective text boxes will be automatically clear. See, the text boxes are clear once we click on reset button. And also we have another type of button, that is input type equal to submit. Input type equal to submit is used to submit the form. Submit. If you want to submit the form to the server, we have to use submit. Generally, to where we submit. So, generally speaking, in every form, submit button is common. For example, below the login form, we have to display login, that is submit button. Below the registration form, we have to display register submit button. Below every form, submit button is common. Once the user clicks on submit button, what are the values that are entered in the text boxes, and maybe check boxes or radio buttons too, all these values will be sent to the server. On the server side, some other program is going to execute. That type of program is called as server side program. Server side program will receive the values and will insert the same into database. The server side programs generally developed based on server side programming languages such as Java, PHP or Python or Node.js, etc. But here we are not going to create any Python or .NET program. Here we are going to create a submit button in order to submit the data to server. Okay. To create the submit button, we are going to use input type equal to submit. But there is a disadvantage in the input type equal to submit, that is, it will not allow any images. Suppose I want to place an image as a submit button. To display the image as a submit button, alternatively we have to use button tag. Actually, for not only for image, if you want to place text or image or sometimes both, for any case the button tag will be helpful for you in order to display the any text or image as a submit button. We have to use button tag. So, always instead of using input type equal to submit, button tag is however recommended in real time projects. Now, let us see how to work with the button tag. Here we are going to place the button tag. Inside the button tag also we can place any text, for example register. We can place any text here. So, that is going to be appear. But instead of this plain text like a register, I want to display an image as a submit button. To display the image, we have to use img tag here. First, let me copy paste the image. So, I am just having some sample images first. Okay, here we have an image called OK.png. I want to use this image as a submit button. So, first we have to copy this particular image and paste here. So, what is the file name we have? OK.png. Now, I want to display the OK.png inside the button. So, here what tag we have to use to display image? img tag, img src equal to the OK.png. Now, inside the button we can notice the image is there, text is there, both can be displayed. To go to next line we are using br. Actually, the basic point is the button tag is a container. Inside the button tag we can place any content including image or text or else any other HTML tag we can place inside the button tag. Now, we can just refresh and execute. Now, it is displaying the image and text, but image size is a bit large image. However, we can reduce the size by using width is equal to, for example, we are providing 20 pixels. Now, we can notice the image width is reduced. We can even decrease more, for example, 15 pixels. Okay, that could be enough. So, in order to display the image plus text, we have to use button tag. Only for image also we can use, only for text also we can use the button tag. And when we click on this button, this particular data values will be submitted to server. In order to submit the values, compulsory we have to provide the name attribute. So, for all these fields we have to add the name attribute. For example, name is equal to person name. Here also name is equal to email. Here name is equal to amount. What is the benefit of providing the name? The names only will be submitted to server when we click on submit button. For example, I am entering abc @gmail.com 1000. Once we have entered these values and click on submit, we can hello. Okay. Now, we can see the values are being submitted. So, person name is equal to ABC, email equal to abc@gmail.com. Here person name is a name, ABC is a value. Okay. So, as we want to submit the data to server, we have to use names and values. Okay. Also, let us create a search box. To create the search box, we have to use input type equal to search. Generally, at the top of the form, we have to use search box. Suppose below the heading, I am going to create search box. Input type equal to search. Now, we can see the search. Also, in order to place the text inside the search box, we have to use placeholder. Placeholder is equal to search. Now, the placeholder is displayed here. Now, the benefit of search box is, if you open the same page in Chrome, for example, open with Chrome. After typing some text in the search box, automatically if you notice here in the right hand side, we can see into mark in order to clear the text box. See, if once you click on this, the text box will be clear. Okay, in case of search box, automatically we are getting the clear button to clear the text box value. Okay. And when we open the page, in which text box the cursor is appear? By default, the cursor is not appear anywhere. Now, I want to place the cursor directly inside the name text box. In order to place the cursor inside the name text box, what exactly we have to use? For the name text box, we have to use autofocus is equal to autofocus. By placing an attribute called autofocus is equal to autofocus, now you can notice when you open the page, by default the cursor is appear in the name text box. Why it is appear in the name text box only? Because for that particular text box we have given autofocus is equal to autofocus. In other words, for which text box you want to place the cursor by default, for that particular text box only we have to give autofocus equal to autofocus. Next, so for this amount value, for this amount I want to specify some default value. To specify the default value, we have to use value attribute. To specify the default value, we have to use value attribute. For example, I am saying 1000. 1000 is default value. So, when you open the page itself, by default automatically it is showing 1000, and I do not want to allow the user to modify the value. To disable modification, we have to add an attribute called disabled equal to disabled. Once we have given disabled equal to disabled, then that particular text box value becomes disabled. Now, the user is no longer able to modify the value. I am just increasing or decreasing, I am trying to type something, we are unable to type anything in the amount text box because it is completely disabled. Okay. Now, I want to place a drop down list inside the form. How to create the drop down list? We can create the drop down list by using select tag. Okay, let us place, for example, a row. I want to place a set of options like payment mode. Under payment mode, we have three options: debit card, credit card, net banking. I want to place these three options as a drop down list. When the user clicks on this particular drop down list, then only these three options should be appear, not directly like this. So, how to create as a drop down list? First, we have to place a select tag. By placing the select tag, we can see a drop down list is appear. Inside the drop down list, I am going to place the option tags. For every item, we have to place one option tag. How many options we have? 3 options. So, we have to place 3 option tags. For one option tag we have to use. As we have 3 options, we have to place 3 option tags. Okay. So, 3 options tags we have created. Out of these 3, any one can be selected by user. So, we have given 3 option tags. I just open this. See, by default we can see 3 options and user can select any one of these options. So, to create the radio button, to create the drop down list, we have to use select tag. And for this select tag also, it is required to give name. Name is equal to payment mode. So, the benefit of giving the name is the selected value will be submitted to server. You can notice, for example, I am selecting credit card. After selecting credit card, after click on submit button, we can notice the payment mode also will be submitted to server. We can notice in the notepad, payment mode also will be submitted automatically to server. Okay, I want to create a multi-line text box where the user can enter multiple lines. For example, comments. Okay, how to create such that we have to place, first let us place one row, comments. So, if you are placing input type equal to text, input type equal to text, the problem is we are accepting only single line of comments, but I want to accept multiple lines of comments. To accept the multiple lines of comments, we have to use text area tag. Text area tag. Once we have placed a text area tag, we are able to see multiple lines of comments. So, user can type multiple lines of text. To accept the multiple lines of text, we have to use text area tag. Okay. Now, I want to place all these things, all these fields inside a box. I want to visualize a box like this. In order to place them inside a box, we have to place field set. So, at the beginning of the form, I have just added a field set. Inside the field set only, I am going to place all this table. I just cut this particular table and paste it inside the field set. Now, we can notice the program very clearly. First, we have a form. Inside the form, we have a field set. Inside the field set, we have a table. All these TR, TD tags are now inside the table. So, after completion of all the rows together, finally, we have closed the field set. After closing the field set, then finally, we have to close the form. The benefit of field set is we can see a box surrounding the form, so that it will be understandable for the developer, for the users. And we can also display some heading for the field set. To specify the heading, we have to add legend tag. The legend tag is used to specify the heading for the field set. I am just using legend, for example, personal details. So, this will be the heading for the field set. Now, we can notice the heading personal details displayed as a field set. So, to display the group, in order to group up the text boxes and to display the heading, we have to use field set. What is the structure we have to follow? Check it. First, we have to place the body. Inside the body, we have to place form. Inside the form, we have to place field set. Inside the field set, legend, and then followed by a table. And inside the table, n number of tiers. First tier, name. Second tier, email. Third tier, amount. Next tier, payment mode. Again, next tier, comments. We can place any number of tier tags. So, finally, we have to close the table, then we have to close the field set, then we have to close the form. Finally, body tag close. So, this is how we are going to create. Right. Next, I want to specify the maximum number of characters that you want to accept inside the text box. By default, in a text box, we can type any number of characters. There is no limit. To specify the number of characters inside the text box, we have to specify max length is equal to some number of characters, for example, 30, which means that only 30 characters are allowed maximum. Only 30 characters. So, I am typing more than 30 here, it is not placing anymore. I am typing here, it is not placing because we have given a limit of 30. So, it will accept up to 30 characters. And also, in order to make the text boxes mandatory, compulsory to enter, we can add required equal to required. If you mention required equal to required, then it is must to enter the value, it cannot be blank. So, we have just added required equal to required for the name text box. So, that particular text box is mandatory. So, if you do not enter the name, it will show error message like this. Similarly, if you want, you can also add the required attribute for all the remaining tags also, including for email, payment mode, comments, everything. Okay. Now, I want to let you know how to create option groups. What is the meaning of option group? Option groups are used to divide the options into multiple categories. For example, assume we have a list of banks, and out of the n number of banks, hundreds of banks, I want to display the group of banks. For example, I want to display like this: top banks. Under top banks, I want to display the popular banks like SBI, ICICI, etc. Under other banks, I want to display the remaining banks. So, the most important banks I want to display in one category, that is called one option group. Remaining banks I want to display in another category, so that is other option group. So, in order to group up the option tags, we have to use OPT group tag. This is one option group, this is another option group. Okay, right. Now, let us place it. So, just here I am just adding a new TR. Here I am going to place bank, and now we are going to place a select tag. What are the list of banks? I am going to place the list of banks like State Bank of India, and some other different banks I am trying to place with the different option tags. ICICI Bank, okay, HDFC Bank, Bank of India, Indian Overseas Bank. Like this, I just placed a different set of banks. Now, I want to display all these banks in a categorized format instead of in a plain format. So, I want to group up the first 3 banks as one group, and I want to place the remaining into other group. So, how do we group them? We have to place them inside the respective option group tag. So, first, in order to do so, first we have to place OPT group label is equal to some heading is required. For example, we are going to place it inside top banks. Under top banks, we are displaying all these banks. All these first 3 banks are now inside the top banks category. All remaining banks are under other category. For example, OPT group, again label is equal to, the label is other banks. So, inside the other banks, we are going to place the option tags. Now, the concept is very clear. Just very simple, just we have to place the select tag. Inside the select tag, we have to place the first option group, then we have to place the second option group. The first option group has a heading that is top banks. So, here in the output, under top banks, these banks are being displayed: SBI, ICICI and HDFC. And coming to the second option group, that is other banks. Under the other banks, you want to display the remaining banks like Andhra Bank, Bank of India and so on. So, now it will be very easy to understand for the user point of view. So, if you have too many number of options, it is recommended to use the option group. Okay. So, we have been seen from the last 2 days, yesterday and today, mainly we have seen different types of form elements like input tag, text area, select, option, OPT group, label, button, different types of form tags. All these are used to create different types of forms for different purposes like a login form, registration form, change password form, different types of forms we can try to display. So, and also we have different types of other HTML tags. For example, we have list tags, table tags, and also we have different types of tags, audio tag, video tag, etc. So, we are going to see the remaining set of HTML tags in the further lessons. So, but in the HTML, one point we have to keep in mind, the HTML only meant for creating elements. If you are expecting how to apply the colors, styles, like how to beautify the elements, we cannot do that by using HTML. All the styling part come under the CSS. We have to use CSS wherever required, then only we can make the web page beautiful and attractive. Thank you.